Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Swab.
Here.
Mrs. Brewer. Here. Mr. Biesecker.
Here.
Mrs. Levy. Here. Mrs. Hill. Here.
Thank everyone for taking their time this evening to meet. And any additions or deletions to the agenda that we have?
I have one fix, thanks to Maria, she found this. 1A in new business should have said 25-26 school year instead of 26-27 school year.
I wondered why that was going to be a little early.
Yeah, that's a little premature, I guess, or past tense one to take. So yes, that needs to be
2025, 26.
So it's basically an immediate thing. Unfortunately.
Any other changes? And under the motion to approve the noted changes.
So moved.
Thanks,
Second.
Scott and Maria. Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Levy. Yes. Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
I get a vote twice.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Two votes this week, right? Next is approving the minutes of a regular and special meeting. Have a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Thanks.
I'll make a second.
And Michelle, second. Any questions or discussion regarding those minutes? We have none. Roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Levy.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next, Maria, do you have anything from the CCC?
The only thing is, since our last meeting, they wrapped up their summer camp. They had 80 kids. Out of those 80 kids, it was like from every school district, 1 or 2 kids, some had larger numbers, but Bradford had 1 kid attend. It's for 4th through 7th graders. And they get to pick like 3 of 7 classes that they could do. And so we just had 1 kid attend from Bradford, and that's about all I have.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions for Maria? All set up for next year, ready to roll?
I hope.
Joe.
All right, can I turn my spotlight over here to Mike Hoff?
Yep.
He's from Lebanon Porter. He's the architect we've been working with to create our field house plan. And he's got some slides here that will reveal what we've been talking about and all the hard work that's been put into this thus far.
Yeah, the first thing is, if you have questions, I'm really here mainly to answer your questions, about any of the progress we've made, any of the designs we've had so far. So I'll just kind of launch into it. So we've had a couple of renderings. We've gone through a number of different kind of schemes, if you will. This is kind of the latest one, and I think that there is a larger version of that one.
Yes, there is.
Okay, yeah. So right now we're really looking at a board and batten metal panel that is similar to what has been installed in the concession stand. That way it kind of blends architecturally with the rest of the campus. We are playing around with some of the trim colors to kind of bring in some of the school colors into that. We have potentially some decorative brackets that right now are not in the project, but we're planning for in the future. And then we have this canopy out front. Gutters and downspouts, we're just kind of playing around with those colors just to bring in, some additional, pop to the design.
It's coming. It's showing on my screen that you're already on the blue.
Oh, really?
Side. All right, let me do it from here. Let me see if I can do anything different.
I think it's froze.
Hey, only if we had a tech guy in here.
Did I not?
Yeah, you are definitely changing the computer.
Okay,
It's just not showing up on the
Okay.
projector for whatever reason. We're gonna redo here. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. All All right, so I tell you what, Mike, they've got copies of the interior.
Yeah.
of this, if you want to talk about that while I'm fixing.
Sure. Yeah, so this is just a markup of what we did for technology based off of speaking with the technology folks and Skip. And it's really, the overall floor plan really has not changed since these last markups. But, you know, we have a 7,000 square foot plus gym. That's an 84 by 50 court, basketball court. We've got 6 basketball backstops in there. We've got the main court and then 2 side courts. And then we have a volleyball court as well. You know, kind of entering into the front of the building, you've got the main lobby with the restrooms to the right, and then to the left would be the concession stand and plan. The locker rooms are all the way on the back side of the building, so the visitors would basically use the east entrance and exit into their locker room, and then the home team would exit out the double doors that's on the west side that faces the stadium.
Everybody follow that, okay?
Now, we do have a second level, we're calling it mezzanine, technically it's a mezzanine by code, for the batting cage. So that is accessed by the stairway that's kind of in the northeast corner of the plan. And then there's an exterior stair that we need for emergency egress that is on the exterior on the north side of the building. Okay, is it gonna work?
Let's try.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Okay, so this is the base bid panel. It's got the same kind of look as the board and batten panel on your concession stand. This is just a different color. The color that I've specified is the matte black that matches that with a wood grain texture. So you've got all kinds of different options with this. You can actually make it look like wood siding if you want. But, you know, we're not going to explore that. We're going to make it look like the other concession stand. Also in the lobby space, right now we have a sealed concrete floor as the base bid, but we have an alternate for a wood look LVT or luxury vinyl tile plank. We looked at this and we're trying to evoke that kind of train station, aesthetic, but still maintain the color scheme of kind of the gray, the black, and the orange. So this is just, if we have a little extra money at bid day, we can possibly buy that LVT. The other option is it can be installed at any time since it's just sealed concrete in there. If at some point in the future you want to install that, you can go ahead and purchase that product. So we got into the floor plan, main entry, we got the entry vestibule, concession stand right here, restrooms at the front, gymnasium obviously, visitor locker room, visitor bathrooms and shower room, home locker and shower room. We have the office for the coaches here, and we have the training room up in the northwest corner. And then this is the northwest entrance and exit that leads toward the stadium. We also have a mechanical room and a storage room in that portion of the building. We also have a storage room that's off of the gym directly in the southeast corner. So there's plenty of storage in the building for all kinds of stuff.
Mike, before you go to the next slide there, the big blank space in the top left corner here.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so this space right here, and it's probably easier to explain it in the images, but basically we're proposing a roof over this area with an alternate for the wrestling room in this spot. So the wrestling room is about it's a large alternate for this. So we're hoping that on bid day that we get some positive bids and we're able to buy that weight room. But essentially what it is, and this is what the base bid will look like. So it's the roof structure and the superstructure that holds that up. There will be a gravel base basically in here. It's just going to be gravel. And we don't want to put a slab in there because if we put a slab, it would have to be flat. And I was afraid that if we did have a flat slab in there, we would get wind-driven rain that would enter into the building underneath the walls. Because you don't want to have that slab even with the walls at that location. It's just not a good a good scene when you get into the weather. So base bid is a gravel slab or gravel pad with that gravel being below the finished floor. That way no wind-driven rain will get in there. But the alternate is to basically enclose that with the walls. So there'll be the slab, there'll be the walls, we have windows in there. There'll be the split face block that looks just like the split face block at the concession stand, and then the siding that matches as well.
Can you explain what base bid means? Because I'm not
Oh,
sure
sure.
of anything about it.
Yeah, so a base bid is basically, okay, well, here's the building package that we want the contractor to bid on. That's base bid. And an alternate is to say, okay, well, we want to add something to this project, but we're not sure how much it's going to cost and how much we can afford. So contractor bid on this alternate, and on bid day, if we have the funds to do it, we'll do that. So that, when you get into a competitive bid situation, contractors are going to fight each other, to basically get the lowest cost that they can for the building. And hopefully on bid day, we'll be able to have enough funds to buy some of these alternates, that we've got in the project. And I don't have the list in front of me, but, alternates are, number one is the weight room itself, which is the big one. Then we have an alternate for an interior liner panel inside the gymnasium, which is basically a metal wall panel that just goes all on the interior walls of the gymnasium. We've got an alternate for metal wall panels in the alternate weight room as well. And the hope is that one of the local suppliers can give us beneficial pricing, for that. Another alternate is we have, the epoxy fleck flooring that you guys have at the concession stand. We've got that as an alternate for the locker rooms. It's in the project in the shower area, because we don't want sealed concrete in the shower area. We want that epoxy flooring there. But for the locker room proper and the restroom area, it is it's an alternate, for that. And there were some other finish alternates. I can't remember all of them.
Bleachers were one of them.
Yeah, we took the bleachers out of the project.
Okay, we did, didn't we? Okay.
Yeah, we took the bleachers out.
Okay, and then the LVP or LV.
Yeah, we got the LVT in the
In
lobby.
the locker, or the
Right.
lobby.
So, sorry, I can't remember all.
It's okay, I need clarification.
One of the other alternates, and we think this is a zero cost alternate, is to have a standalone fire alarm system for the building. The option, the base bid basically is to extend the current simplex system into the building. But if we wanted to go with the standalone system, we're giving the contractor the option to do that. And really the biggest cost difference there are the fees, that it would take to pay for that standalone system. So that's a decision we'll have to make, on bid day.
Would that help insurance?
It will not affect you either way because we have a fire alarm in the building, either in the base bid or alternate. It's just, whether or not you have a standalone system that you pay for with a year. I think it's a yearly fee. It's a yearly fee. Yeah. So just another view. This is from the southeast. So your high school building is basically over here, and you're standing in the parking lot, kind of looking toward the northwest. But this is the base bid, meaning this is what's in the project. You can see this is the open area where the weight room would be. And then the next rendering is simply just kind of showing what that building would look like with that alternate accepted. Another view of the back of the building. We're still playing around with colors for the exterior stair, but what's not shown in this are the mechanical units. So we will have ground-mounted air handlers on the outside of the building on the north side. We're keeping all that stuff on the north side because the south side is really the money shot, if you will. But this is the least expensive way to provide heating and air conditioning into the building, is to do ground-mounted units out in front. So that that equipment is not being shown, which you can kind of barely see. We do have some high windows up in the gym. I wanted to get some natural light, into that gym. So we've got windows on both the east and west side. And, one thing we're making the allusion to it, the overall building form is really geared toward economy. The typical kind of gable roof form, that is very typical of a pre-engineered metal building, and that is really one of the most economical forms you could get. But we still wanted to make an allusion to the shed roof schemes that are on campus. So that's why we have this roof form here to kind of bring that back, architecturally with the rest of the campus and not have a big barn out there, if you will. That view basically just shows the alternate weight room, with the windows. So this is another scheme. We were, again, playing around with the colors. This is, just basically the same view, just with black trim and black downspouts. One thing to note also is that there is an elevation change. It's not as severe as this in the rendering. This is a little bit, my rendering guy got a little bit carried away. But there is going to be a stair, a kind of a concrete stair that goes up to the main porch into the main building. And again, that's what it would look like, with the alternate weight room. Same kind of view, just different colors. And then there it is with the roof.
Now your renderings,
Yep.
they're inside.
Yeah, so we did a couple of basic renderings. These are not, finished products, so please take these with a grain of salt. But this is basically to kind of give you a sense of what the interiors would look like. So this is the main lobby looking toward the stadium. You're looking in this view to the southwest. So we have the entrance lobby here, entrance vestibule here. We got the glass windows that look out to the south, concession stand, and then the doors that lead to the alternate weight room. These doors would have half lights in them. So whether or not the weight room is there, you're going to have a glass, you'll have a vision panel in that door.
And then the doors on the right are going into the gym.
Yep. Yeah, these are the doors going into the gym. And then we have rough ends for monitors for display of information and stuff like that. We'll also have some electronic rough ends at the bottom here so that someone can set up a table for tickets and other goods.
And public restrooms would be right behind you in that
Yep.
picture.
Yep.
Along with drinking fountain.
This is a view of the gym looking toward the northeast. So this is showing the mezzanine level and what the structure might look like. Again, we're playing around with the colors. I really like that orange color, so I decided let's see what it looks like when we paint all of the block that's in the gym, the orange. But this is showing the metal panel on the walls above that concrete block wainscot. So this wainscot is 7'4" high, which is basically as high as the door frames right here. And then everything above that would be either the base bid, which is just a plastic sheeting, or the alternate, which is the liner panel. And I say plastic sheeting because the insulation that's on this has a very robust kind of plastic sheet. It's not immune to tears and stuff, but it'll take a basketball, it'll take a volleyball. It won't take golf balls, but it's if we can't afford that liner panel, on bid day, we at least have some protection of the walls, and there is a fairly finished look. I mean, it'll be a plastic sheet. So I'm hoping on bid day we can afford the liner panel. But this, you can see the lights, the windows up above, and then the mezzanine beyond. And then this is actually you standing on the mezzanine, kind of looking down. The doors that go back into the main lobby are here, and then we have the place for the bleachers in that location. And those bleachers right now are not in the project. We decided, hey, if we need to do bleachers, we can do that at a later date. So it's not a big deal to add. And we are designing the floor and all the striping so that those bleachers can be installed at a later date. Also, what's not shown in here are the light fixtures and the ductwork. So we'll have a main trunk line coming down the middle of the gym, and then we'll have light fixtures like LED light fixtures that you kind of typically see in a high bay gym. This is the alternate weight room. Again, all of the colors in here are variable, so it may not be black, depending on, on what we want to do. We want to get the product information from the contractor. But it's a fairly large space, high ceiling. It'll be, hopefully we can get it because it'll be a cool place.
That's it.
And that's it.
Any questions?
The batting cage, that's gonna be a permanent batting cage up there?
Sets on cables that go the side to side, lengthwise of the mezzanine, and then you can slide it all the way back to the wall. But the cables and everything would stay up there, the nets would stay up there. It wouldn't be extended and fully implemented all the time.
I was just curious, because I know like at Senior Christian, they had, it's an old gym that they have in it, but there's a space for people to sit at the top up where the mezzanine is. And I didn't know if that was going to be
Absolutely.
large enough, a possibility.
Now, when I talked to the folks with the BYA groups, they said, hey, great idea, but we don't really want to police what's going on up in the mezzanine, so we'll probably lock the doors. So, I mean, it could go either way, depending on how things work out. It's there as an option, yes.
Yeah, you will have a mezzanine, that's part of the base bid. Access to that mezzanine is basically by that stair that is internal, and there's a card reader on that door. So this is essentially another vestibule, and we're making it, I would call it a secure entry vestibule. So visitors can come into this vestibule, if you will, and then enter into the visitor locker room. They cannot enter into the gym from that vestibule, so this door would be locked from that vestibule. Now, that door is always openable from inside the gym. By code, I have to have that door be an emergency egress just because of the occupant load in the gym. But, once you're in this vestibule, you really only have one option, two options. You can go into the visitor locker room or out of the building, which is, also an egress door. This door has got a mechanical lock on it, so it can be locked when it's not in use.
So how does the gym space size compare to like what we had, like our normal gym?
The court you see is the full-size high school gym court.
Okay.
So it's the size 94 feet, I think is the.
I can't remember the
those.
exact dimensions, I think it's 94.
Yeah, but we took the exact same high school court and stuck it in this building. Now, on top of that, you've got the walk around, the walking track, space for the bleachers, those type of things. So there's space outside of those baselines all the way around. So I guess I didn't go back and look. I know the width is.
It's 50 feet.
50 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the court
court,
itself,
that's the
right?
court, yeah.
Okay. The distance, what we've got in here, there's more space because you've got bigger bleachers. But the court itself is obviously the same.
Yeah, the total width of the gym is about 75 feet, and the total length of the gym is about 104 feet.
And I have those dimensions in there if you give me a few minutes.
So we aren't doing the bleachers just from a cost perspective at this point, or just as part of this bid that's not normal to put in?
Well, when we looked at how things are going to be prioritized in this, we all agreed that physical space is much more important than what's in it. So if we've got the choice of spending X amount of dollars for the weight room versus it won't be the same amount of money. But let's say the weight room versus the bleachers and something else, I'd rather have the weight room. And that way we've got the space that's already built and then we can put bleachers in some other time. So that's kind of what we all discussed. We had a meeting with BYA folks. They agreed with us. So that's something we can put in down the road if we even need to do a fundraiser or something in a year or two. Not a problem.
Because this would primarily be used for no games, but BYA to use as their facility. I mean, we would do practices and things, but is that what we're
A
thinking?
lot of it will be BYA. And youth sports and those type of things. We can have phys ed classes out here, but as far as a varsity athletic event, we won't be using this for that. No, there isn't gonna be enough space for that kind of spectator room.
But for practices, because
Practices,
our gym
absolutely.
practice
Yep.
time is kind of really.
Right, that's always crammed on top of each other.
So you don't have the fourth and fifth grade practicing at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
Which is,
Well, it'd be nice too for track to have somewhere other than the hallway when it's a rainy day to go into
Yep.
and use.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
One thing to note also is that we've really tried to make this building as inexpensive as possible, to bring the bids in. And one of those things that we're doing, instead of a wood floor, which is what's traditionally in the basketball kind of gymnasium, we're doing a synthetic floor, which has the same performance metrics as a wood floor, but it's less expensive. It's not traditional in terms of what people are used to looking at when they look at a basketball court, but performance-wise, it'll do just fine.
And it was a little nicer floor than what, I mean, it's not the cheapest floor out there. It's a fairly nice
Yeah.
synthetic floor.
Yeah.
It's not the Cadillac model, but it's a pretty darn good model. And it should stand up a little better to softballs and the softies and things like that would be typically in the gymnasium. Have a longer lifespan, and we don't have to refinish it every year like a wood floor. So, to go back to your question, Holly, the big gym is currently, the total floor space with the bleachers pulled back is 103 feet by 96 feet. So 9,888 square feet in the gymnasium, the big gym now.
So we're gonna be the same length, just
Different width.
about 20 feet less.
Yeah, literally the length from that gym to this gym is almost
One foot,
identical.
right.
The width with the extra, so to speak, side baskets would be deeper, obviously, or wider in the existing gym than the new gym. So,
in the base bid is the flooring in the.
Yes,
the
that's
gym.
correct. Yeah.
So the alternate was flooring in the front rather than.
Alternates the flooring in the main lobby. Yeah, because it's, kind of the fluff space. We're paying attention to the flooring where it's absolutely needed, like in the gym and in the weight room.
So what's your stratification of the alternates? Do you have like a plan A, B, and C and how that lies out, what rolls in with the alternative bids?
Yes, but not a concrete one.
I mean, there's probably a package. They're gonna do like package A,
Right.
B, and C. I think it'd be nice to see those packages. that's
Yeah,
gonna be bid.
it's,
Right.
what'll happen is that you'll get bids for the base, which is the base bid package. And then what the contractors will do, the bid form I've broken out into the 8 different alternates, they will indicate a price for each one of those alternates. And at that point, it essentially becomes a shopping list that you can just pick and choose, what.
So at the end of the bids, it's not a fixed package.
Correct.
You can assemble the extras based on priorities.
Correct.
And we will also have at that point prices from contractors that can help out with different things. We'll have prices for example, the bleacher package, those type of things. We'll know kind of what those cost if we want to include those in the package as well.
Gotcha.
Well, just to remember, we don't have the bleachers in the package and it's not
Right.
even an
Yeah.
alternate.
In addition to,
Right.
so to speak.
And one item that's also not in the bid, I confirmed this with Skip, is the actual batting cage itself. I've got a
Right.
structure that
Right.
supports the cables.
Right.
But not the batting cage itself.
Sure. That makes sense.
And there are particular items that we have purchased in bulk as time as, when it permitted for some of the other projects, and we have them available. We're trying to look at this project for the things that we already have provided. And then we also are going to look at things that may be owner provided from that if the pricing is more favorable for what we have found locally. And that's the reason for some of these packages. We want to have local participation whenever we can, but it's not feasible on a project of this size, but this allows some of that to occur.
Gotcha. Any other questions? Looks good. We're moving in the right direction. The renderings look nice.
There we go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Any other discussion? Board members? Nope. Joe?
Okay, got a couple of things to talk about. We've got a ribbon cutting coming up. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before the board meeting on August 12th at 5 o'clock. We are putting a camera, actually it's going to be probably a phone, up on the roof to do the actual ribbon, and this is all, of course, weather permitting. And we've got the giant scissors and everything else that go along with it. We don't want a crowd up on the roof, but if there's one or two of you that would like to go up on the roof, it means climbing a set of steps and probably a 15-foot ladder on top of that. So if you're interested, love to have you up there. If you don't, I'm not twisting your arms, but you're welcome to. So
Getting up's the easy part, getting down is.
getting down
Getting down, I guess, happens.
Yep,
to all those
yep,
people
well,
out in that mess.
getting down slowly is the key to it, I guess. And it does rattle you a little bit going from the roof, those first couple rungs until you get settled into the ladder. So yeah, it's a little nerving. We have
Do we have
invited.
insurance to cover when we fall?
Well, discuss that.
We have to buy extra policy to cover the event trauma.
I will tell you that I found that it was not as easy with a formerly broken wrist. That wasn't working well for me.
And I will tell you, we went up there a number of times when they were putting the panels on the roof. And it was during the day and the sun was out. And with the white top on the roof now, it was, the first time I went up there, they said, oh, take some sunglasses up with you, Joe. Foolish me, just nope, didn't do it. I was stubborn, guy. Get up there and I couldn't see. I mean, it literally took me 20 minutes before I could actually zoom in and actually see the person I was talking to. It was not easy. So it was kind of like being out on a boat, I suppose, on the sunniest of days and without sunglasses and eye protection. So anyways, if it is a nice day out, that you would want to prepare for that. Michelle, you had said something about maybe you want to go up.
Sure.
Anybody else would like to?
I'll just see.
Okay, all right.
I'll bring
Sounds
sunglasses.
good. I think that's a good.
You have to remember that the formation of this project is a dual reflectivity of the white roof. So it concentrates the amount of light back into the panels. So remember that we
Yes,
as humans have that light coming at us the same way. So I had very dark sunglasses and it was most welcome because it was extremely bright up there.
Hard to see that first rung if you got
Yep.
too much white light.
Makes you a little unnerved even more. And those panels do have solar collectors on top and bottom. That was the beautiful thing of this. And it really does make a difference with that white reflective roofing up there. Which brings us to the next part, which is the roof. Cotterman has already signed on and they said they're gonna finish the project. They'll be here in the next couple of weeks, but they said they will have everything completed before school gets back into session. So we counted, Scott, we 7 weeks today for them to finish up the roof project. So they said it wasn't any problem and they would certainly be able to work within that time period. The roof painting is nearing completion. I think the roof itself is all done. They're working on some trim pieces. I will say if you drive around the building right now, you'll still see some green trim because on those flat roofs, they're replacing that trim. So we said, don't bother painting it if we're going to just tear it off and put new on there anyways. So Cotterman, when they come in and do their stuff, they will replace all the flat roof and then the trim that goes over top of those edges will be replaced at that point with black trim. So don't freak out if you saw those and think something was missed. The greenhouse is coming along quite well. I don't know if you've seen it. It looks amazing. And if you get the chance, it's open. You're welcome to walk through it and check things out. But it is a very sturdy facility. Jonathan has been the one that's been building it and constructing the pieces. He said it's one of the strongest greenhouses that he's ever seen, much less built. There's a few pieces of glass that were broken in transit. There were a few pieces that were cut just a little bit wrong, so as soon as those come in, they'll finish the job. We expect those to be delivered July 17th as the last shipment. So as soon as that's done, the structure itself will be complete. The mason is supposed to be out sometime soon. Actually said as early as next week, they'd be able to come out and put the brick around the base of it. And that's matching brick to the school building. So when we're all said and done, everything should tie together very nicely. And you can see in this picture, I hope you can see in this picture, the door is on this side, which if you walk out of that door and onto the sidewalk and turn left, you'd run into the building. There's a little cubby there, and this is something we talked about before the camera was live, but you'd go straight into the ag shop at that point. So it's very, very close. It's not connected, but it's very conveniently close. One thing that, all these we're excited about. One thing we came to this last week, we've been discussing for quite some time the numbers that are in kindergarten, and we've spread those out and thinking that we were going to be able to have beginning garden next year. We talked, Carla and I had talked for quite some time before this. I had the conversation with our administrators lately and said, okay, what are the hurdles we would have if we were to implement beginning garden again with another teacher on board? So they said, yep, we can absolutely overcome these hurdles. They're actually calling the parents that were originally figuring on being in beginning garden and scheduling those back in and making sure we've got a full house. But the job is posted for an additional teacher, assuming that everything gets approved tonight. So it was a little premature on that. I apologize. That's my fault. But assuming everything goes well, we'll have a beginning garden back into our school and be able to keep that program moving forward.
How many kids will it take to get that? I mean, what's the number you're thinking?
Well, right now we have 60 kids, plus or minus a few, that are enrolled in kindergarten, and that would be including all the kids there. I talked to Tab Cannon last week, or earlier this week, I guess. She said there were a couple parents that said, no, because we're not having beginning garden, we're gonna make plans elsewhere. So they've actually, we feel like we're gonna pull those kids back in. So I feel like if we get 8 or 9 kids for beginning garden, we'll be absolutely fine. And then that'll diminish a few of the kids out of the other ones, and those will be spread out over 3 classrooms. So we'll have just under 20 kids in each one of those classrooms as well. So,
And what about open enrollment? How many open enrollment do we have?
I have those numbers, I don't have them with me. I want to say in kindergarten level, there may be 9-ish, thereabouts.
And have we accepted all of them or not?
We actually closed open enrollment for kindergarten. So no, we did not accept all of them. But the ones that we did accept were ones that were siblings of others and kind of went that way too. So that had an impact. Shred Day. Dennis Baker from the library had talked to us a while back when we did some shredding a few years ago and said, wouldn't it be nice to be able to have all community members come in and dispose of shreddable documents that they may have in their house, and maybe we can sponsor something like that. So we've been working, we've got a company that we've worked with before. They're gonna come in on September 26th and do a shred day from, it's basically until noon. The beginning time, I left that piece out because at 9 o'clock to 9:30, we're gonna say anybody that wants to sponsor the event can come in with as many boxes as they want to shred. So if there's a company here in the town that is interested in that, they would have that half hour to destroy whatever they needed to. And then from 9:30 until noon, any community member that wanted to come in, they'd be limited on the amount of boxes. I'm sure it's gonna be a larger number just because I don't know if we're gonna be as busy as what like the Dark County Shred Day is. But it's a similar truck to what happens over there. But we're gonna ask for sponsors here in the community, so if anybody out there would like to contribute $100 towards this, we'll put your names on all the advertisements, we'll send all those out next week and get that advertised as best we can, so we can get some people out here and shred some documents free of charge to the community. And then the last part is going back to that roof replacement, which we already talked about. So that, I believe, oh, no, fun run. It was rescheduled to July 25th, so it's coming up soon. Whether you want to run, walk, or just come out and watch, it'll be a good time for everybody. So lots of activities. It'll be a good time. Come out and support. So that is all I have for my report, unless you have questions.
Questions for Joe? On your shred day, are you shredding on site or are you just
Yes.
picking them up and taking them?
Nope, the truck will be here. We'll line up. We'll have signs and stuff how to come back and join us, and we'll just dump everything in their bin and do it right here. And they'll have certificates of destruction for
Certificate of
anybody that
destruction.
knows. So, yep.
It's very nice.
And I think we'll have a truckload on our own the way our shred day is or our shredding is going.
Our
potential
intern is
shredding.
doing a wonderful job of scanning stuff in, so we've got,
A lot to get rid of.
yeah, we do.
Oh.
So it's a win-win, right?
It
No,
certainly is.
it's been wonderful.
Yes. And we'll have to have a records destruction meeting before that.
Joe, the shred day, is that just for documents, is that paper documents only? I see about people got old technology and stuff.
It would be paper only. Yeah. I don't know if they could take like old CDs and things like
Yeah.
that. I don't know of that. I don't
It's-
think they do
it's-
that, but I can
That's what
check.
I'm,
I think it's paper only. though.
It's-
yeah.
It wouldn't be for old computers and things like that, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, Dark County, I know, has a technology day for disposal, but, no, that is totally different situation than what this will be. This will be strictly for document destruction. And, for the most part, you can leave staples in, but you're gonna have basically paper.
Binder clips are something that hurts the machine, so you want to take those out. And we'll have flyer, that'll be on the flyer that goes out. But staples and even paper clips are okay. Binder clips are not. The great big, I'll call them an angel clip that goes over top. Those things are get a little dicey too, so. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Carla?
Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about, what's been happening in the office. We've been out closing the books, and it's been an interesting year because, if you're following some of the news, and they're not talking about a great deal, but we're running into some very interesting situations with our finances this year because we have several bills that are out there. House Bill 186 right now is something we're going to be dealing with. Our collections are going to be later this year. We're going to have a percentage of collection less. I have not been able to calculate that at this point because I have gotten some information from Dark County, but Miami County has not come through with that. And I have to figure the two counties because of the splits. So, I don't think we'll be tremendously impacted, but we will be impacted financially on that, as will practically every other county in the state of Ohio. It's just, it's a situation that we'll be dealing with. I do not think we will be collecting less money than we have in the past. It's just we're not going to have the inflation coming in. So it's just something that we'll deal with, and we'll find alternative funding like we have in the past. And speaking of alternative funding, and I always give you credit for the preschool grant, that has changed totally this year. It's managed by a different organization. We're in the process, but it looks like we're going to get the full allocation again this year. It's been very, very good. And I think it'll continue to be good. We're looking at maybe doing some playground upgrades this year for the preschool. We might want your thoughts on that, Michelle, on how we can improve that. But, and the curriculum, I know you're involved with that. We're trying to get, a cross curriculum where they can introduce some of that at an earlier age. So ideally, they would almost be able to phase out beginner garden, but that's been a valuable asset to us. And I hope that continues on. We also have the school bus grant, which is going to illuminate the school bus signage and make them much more visible. That was a grant we received back in February, and we're hopeful to get that implemented prior to the buses being inspected this year. And I think Joe's got an update on bus 23. It's back to.
It's coming home tomorrow. You guys probably don't know this. The electric Bluebird bus was picked up the last week of February because it only had a range of 68 miles, I think is what it was. And it was sold to us with the expectation of 128 miles. So they ran lots of diagnostics, said, well, everything seems to be fine. It's getting 68 miles. Sounds good. Come pick it up. So we told them to keep it until it was fixed, and they said last week it was fixed. So we've got 2 drivers going up tomorrow to pick it up. We're backed up to, it's not 128, it's 113 miles on our charge.
And I'll talk a little bit about what the state's doing to us as far as the accountability piece. I had to change by hand around 1,000 account numbers this year because they are wanting more definitive information. For example, and I explained this to Joe today, they are looking at how many entry fees we pay in sports, just entry fees. They are segregating out certain expenses. Somebody in Columbus has decided that's what we need to do. So that was a Herculean task to get through, but I got that all completed. We are now required, I would have submitted it today, but somehow their site's down. I will be submitting these reports, and they actually will be taking an analysis from that. If we don't meet their criteria on that analysis, we automatically get notice that we have to pay those dollars back. That's the way it's going to work from now on. And if for some reason they can question what we put in the reports, but we've been very particular about that. That is our disadvantaged pupil reports and our success and wellness, also our gifted. We have to make accommodations, and we have to make sure we spend that money in the right way. So that is something else we're dealing with. But I'm going to piggyback on what we talked about with the architect before, because I know you may not understand the whole focus of how we're doing this, but we know that we can introduce various items locally at a much less expensive price, cut down the price of our project, and make it more likely for us to expand other things that we want to do in this project. And the way it's been designed, it's going to be easy to implement them on top of what we've got here. So our goal is to have a basic building that we can add on to. And one of the ways that's going to happen is I've been looking, over the years, we've been contributing money to the 070 account, which is a capital account, and we have specific items that we are to pay out of that account. So far, when we've projected those dollars, we've come in under budget on every project we've done. So that's allowing extra money that could go back to the general fund or could be shifted into this building after we get some of the profits. So we think we have a plan of attack here on the building that will do some very positive things for us, so we can end up with what we want to do. Henceforth, the bleachers are almost like personal property. They can be put in there, and that's why
I won't say what I was going to say, but the architect, the bigger the project, it makes for a more lucrative situation. So we are trying to minimize as much as that as we can and wring some of the profit out of it and be able to do more with that. So that's our goal here.
Mhm.
So I will come back the next meeting. I need to give you a sense of what all we've been able to do with some of the construction projects. We're just coming in much better on some of these projects at the end of the day than what our typical production was, and it's giving us some extra dollars to do some things. So, and with that, I conclude my report.
Any questions for Carla?
I meant to ask, when will the bids come in for the extra portions of, I've never
August.
built anything, so everybody needs to understand that the terminology.
August 5th is the bid opening day.
Okay,
So that gives us enough time between that and the August 12th meeting to review all the bids, make sure they're accurate, make sure they're complete, and then be able to make a recommendation at the August 12th meeting for contract adoption.
And we should have pricing on anything that can be done locally. That will give us the information we need as to whether to accept the alternates or to reject the alternates.
So I just want to make sure I got this clear. So if we get a bid from some big company, I'm just going to Bruns or some big company to do it, but then we also we could go with that big bid, but then we could hire someone local to do the weight room and someone local to do the other things, correct? They don't have to be the big bidder.
That's the way these alternates work.
Okay.
Yes, so what we would do in that case is not accept the bid. Take, for example, when we did the track, we had an alternate for, the only one I can really think of is the press box. I can't think of the other ones.
Well, the press box was, well, we actually, I was trying to remember the bleachers came through on a regular bid. The press box was the big, that was bid. We had no bids that came through on that particular item, so we had a dollar amount that as long as we could get it built for under that amount, it was bid. It was properly handled and we were able to bid that, or do that. Now, since then, we have to have a little bit of a difference in it because they redefined what is a school building. So we always have to look at this from that standpoint, but it does give us some opportunities.
Yeah, and that's what I was going towards is the press box. We didn't, honestly, when we got all those bids back, they were very expensive for that press box. We said, let's hold off on that. We did some exploring. We talked to some local folks. We got some more bids back. That's how we got it done.
Okay.
Yep.
So your alternate timelines may be very similar to whether it's done in a big project or segmented
In
out,
conjunction or even afterwards.
Right.
Yep.
not years later.
Correct. At least that's the goal, but I mean, it is a possibility.
Depends.
So, and one thing, just for your understanding, is this is a fairly large project for a district of this size. The base bid is 3.6 million at this point, somewhere thereabouts. And the law allows for a 20% leeway, and we've got architect's fees. Let's say it's a $4 million project. That gets us up to 5 million on this. We have to review our budgets very carefully to make sure if they come in that much over, whether it's something that we want to take on or if we have to look back at value engineering. So I think we were very careful to try to do our value engineering now so that the first bid sticks and that we can make this work the best way we can.
Gotcha. Sounds like you're prepared. That's all we ask.
But we hope so.
Any other questions? If not, next is, we have no public participation, so we move to the financial reports from the treasurer. Items 1 through 8, Carla, quick overview that you would like us to approve.
Really, actually, the 1 through 5 are typical items. The approval plan for disadvantaged people, impact aid, and student wellness will put together a plan that we've spent and get that on the website so we can be in compliance. The natural gas agreement, we have approved that before. We've got a better rate on that. We take advantage of those as those come through. That other one is just the grant that I already talked about.
We have a motion to approve the items presented.
So
I'll second.
Second, Michelle, first Scott. Any discussions or questions for Carla? If we don't have any, then roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biestecker,
yes,
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next is new business, items 1 through 15. Other than I think the alteration was made in item A. Joe, could you give us an overview of what you'd like us to approve?
Yes, brief overview, and those of you following along at home, this is online if you want to follow along with our agenda. Number one, obviously, we're sad that Katie Fry is leaving us. We've got some other pieces here that are typical pieces to put in here. We've got some folks that are going to come in and clean and wash and wax our buses and vans. We've got a contract with BSN coming in to help out our athletic equipment. We've got the CORS contract. We've got a transportation agreement, which is just allowing us to transport our kids that are collaborative unit kids. The shred day piece, as long as this goes through, will be September 26th. We would like to have an early graduation for one of our students that is doing well with his classes. Staff handbooks, the junior, all the student handbooks, and the substitute handbook and the athletic handbook are there. Skipping through some of the others, the ticket prices are the same. The substitute teacher license is the same. Gifted services, very similar to the previous years. Technology repairs is the same as last year. We're on to number 12, tuition reimbursement for a couple of our teachers that finished some classes. We have a couple out-of-state trips for our golf teams. Number 14 is something we've been working on for quite some time and it just solidified yesterday and this morning. We've got a security program that can be implemented that will allow teachers to lock down the building and communicate through their computers if there's ever any problems inside the building. So this is a free program that's out there. The company does go out and solicit funds from the Verizons of the world and the big companies to help offset some of this. They are going to ask for some of our local people that might be able to help support this as well, and they probably will contact the production paints of the world or some of the others. But I don't feel like they said, no, Joe, don't worry, it's not going to be a full campus of your village and talking on knocking doors and that sort of thing. So hopefully it's not anything intrusive there. And then the last one is our blacktop maintenance to seal coat the west lot only this year, along with seal coating or crack filling the rest of it. So that's it for the main consent.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
Thanks, Holly. And a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Maria. Any questions?
On number 7, the handbook, I had a couple things. One, it says, so the staff is 7:55 to 3:25,
Yes,
but then students is at 7:40. Who's with those students from 7:40 to 7:55?
that's where the duties come into play. Every
Okay.
staff members have certain duty schedules.
Okay,
So
they come in earlier than their contract.
yes,
Okay,
yes, or and even later, depending on, for example, if one of the elementary school teachers goes down to work the corner, they work late that day, but on the other days, they don't have to stay that late. High school does the same thing in the morning, watching the hallways and standing out with administrators and helping out with that part.
okay, because I saw staff was 7:55 and then kids
Yep.
could be dropped off at 7:40 and I
Yeah.
thought, who's with the kids?
Doesn't really match up unless you know that piece. So,
And
yeah,
then,
that's it.
in there, in the staff handbook too, it had the food places. We just need to update that. Because it had like, Train Stop, which is now Hagen's Place.
Hagen's.
It didn't have, it had Smitty's instead of JJ's. It didn't have the 721 hangout. So if we could update those,
I will take care of that. In fact.
I mean, we can take that out completely. I don't care, but if you're gonna have it in there, hopefully
It needs
it's
to be
correct.
accurate.
Yeah.
Right, I would agree. Okay, so maybe we can say with amendments for number 7.
Yeah,
if that's
just
all right with
on
everybody.
those, yeah. And then I had a question on number 8, the athletic prices. The student athletes still get in free to their
Yes.
events.
Yep,
I didn't
no
see
difference.
anything, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
So
no
if it's
changes.
their fall season and they play volleyball, they can go to football games for free.
In-season athletes, right?
Okay. That's all I
I
wanted.
think too, if there'd be a way to make it highlighted that these are new, added to this handbooks, so that parents are more aware of that,
Yes,
that might be a good thing to have, so that they can't say, well, I didn't know that, I didn't know, because I'll be honest,
you
I'm
would
not
read
sure
all of them.
everybody would look at
Right.
it, so if you see those highlighted areas, you at least would take a read those.
And what we did for those of us that read it early, obviously, we highlight those in red. We've done it in different ways before, but we will do something similar.
I just think it might be helpful,
I
at
think
least,
that's an
because
amazing.
you can say, well.
Right.
It's hard to read the whole thing.
Right.
Reading, looking for differences is much easier on your brain
Correct.
than just trying to read it like a story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yep, absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
And is there a dollar amount in 10?
I haven't got the contract yet. So,
How about up to amount?
we've actually had, I think, 3 meetings that have been rescheduled, postponed, or changed in some way. So no, I don't have that.
You put a number, it's hard to, we probably shouldn't have approved a blank check.
I know, I was promised it wouldn't be anything more than inflationary stuff from last year.
So I think if you were to do a not to exceed of 26,000, doesn't that sound?
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I'm remembering what we had last year, and I think if you do 26,000, that gets you a little bit of inflation on that number that I have in my head.
Sounds right.
Okay. So we'll fill that in with 26K.
Any other questions? So it would be a motion to approve with the amendments to 7 and the in-season athletes noted, as well as 26,000 max for number 10.
Perfect.
Motion to approve
You've already got it.
We got
Is
the
that Scott?
motion.
and a second.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have a second? I missed that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Holly and Maria.
I just
I
want to
think
make
we're
sure.
ready for
Clear those,
There's no other discussion.
roll call, please.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Next item is 16.
Just pulled out for nepotism reasons.
Motion to approve
Make a motion.
and a second.
Second.
Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Abstain.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Mrs. Hill.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I get a vote twice again.
Been a long week.
Number 17, I am so excited about this with the possibility of putting one more teacher down there in the kindergarten classrooms.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Maria, and a second.
Second.
Scott, any discussion or questions for Joe?
I do have a question. So this is good, but we don't really know the numbers of beginning gardens. So is that, let's say that you only have 5 that say they're gonna come. What is that gonna look like if you go ahead and you start searching, you offer a job? I mean, are you going to get numbers? I mean, what's that gonna look like?
The goal is the enrollment will happen before we offer a job.
Okay.
If the enrollment isn't there, then we won't offer the job. But as you know, July 10th is that magical date for somebody to transfer from one school to another. I don't know if that's even going to be a possibility, knowing that's the day after tomorrow. So that's still the goal.
Also, one other question, is there a way, and this is just something up for discussion as time goes on, a way to say that we have set numbers at grade levels, like beginning garden through second grade has a set limit for a classroom, and then you discuss whether that's a possibility so that you're not at the last minute saying, this is something we probably need to do. This is
Right.
just a conversational piece that I think I mean, exciting to see that we have numbers like we do, but to make sure that we're servicing our kids the best, that maybe we could have a set number. I know that's opening up a can of worms, but something that might be discussed.
And I think that's a very valid piece. I think I, for one, have learned a lot from this experience and would like to hope that nothing will wait this long before a decision is made in the future. So.
Yeah, because I think that's the concern with especially the kindergarten teachers is having so many kids in their class, you know, and not having aides, if we don't have an aide in those classes, and then having 20 kids in the kindergarten class. I think that was the biggest concern is, you know, when do we stop that? You're talking about open enrollment.
I'm just talking about numbers, period. If we had, even if we had kids that we had 20, everybody in town, those are large class sizes. So, you know, what is the cutoff that we say we only want so many in a class? So, and yes, those, I mean, open enrollment would come into play, but also what's best for our students that live within district, you know, to make sure that the numbers are small enough that they're getting the education that they need, because a lot of times our kids don't get the preschool experience like you would hope that many would. And so that is that's, you know, always like we're trying to get caught up all the time. And that is a concern that I see. And again, I agree 100% that if I were a teacher, it would be concerning to say that's a large class, especially with the needs that have changed over the years. So.
That sounds like a great idea, because you only get one chance to do it once in the beginning. If you miss that start,
It's hard to
catch up.
fill in those gaps. I mean, it really is. We've got a good process. I feel like there's a lot going on that is making things better, but we still have a long ways to go, so.
Yep, right.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mrs. Levy?
Yes.
Dr. Swab?
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker?
Yes.
Mrs. Hill?
Yes.
Yes. Item 18.
And the last one is to talk about the architectural plans and seek bids.
A motion to approve
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any discussions or questions?
Truly want feedback if you got it.
The questions I had were answered. I mean, everything that I asked was answered, and now it's better understanding, knowing what's going on, and you shared like cost-wise within alternates and those types of things for many people that maybe at home don't understand. And again, I didn't either. So I can't think of anything as a layperson yet until we get further into the process. But I think right now, I don't know if everybody else, I feel like we've got a really good understanding of what's taking place and a good starting point.
Yeah, the alternates make sense more so now, because I was thinking, sitting here, like, we have one chance to do this right. Everybody's been waiting on this for a long time. Everybody's excited about it. So, you know, people are walking and say, where are the bleachers we're gonna sit? You know, like, because the gym has been needed for so long. And we've talked about, you know, the limited seating in the small gym. And so seeing the capacity in here of the number of people that can sit is exciting. But then it's like, you know, does it seem unfinished? But it makes sense, you know, after you explain that, you know, there are funds there potentially, and depending on the base bids, we might have some more room to do some additional things. I do think the weight room too is important. And so hopefully we can fit that in because it's such a big part of Bradford.
Sure is.
It's very much like the way the STEM room concession stand. It was a similar process on that. We just had a little bit more control on this. This one, we will probably get vendors that are not from the area possibly, and they won't know the people that are available here in town. So we're trying to add to that knowledge base.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also like the floor. That was another question, you know, to know that you don't have to have it finished like you do a wood floor, I think is going to be very nice. And then if you want to have, like, if your groups come in to use it, keeping it a nice surface, I think will be a lot easier that way too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Levy?
Yes.
Dr. Swab?
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer?
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker?
Yes.
Mrs. Hill?
Yes.
Next is a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Thanks, Scott. In a second.
I'll say.
Michelle and Holly, time. A roll call for approval.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
So no action will be taken, right? So
No
we'll
action will be taken
just be done.
after the,
Okay.
or after the executive session.
Okay.
And we enter at 7:40.